innocence of God, pure and holy light of all creation, to accept the light within, to accept the innocence within, is to reject all that has been fabricated in the name of separation, all that has been believed in that could possibly die, everything of change, everything of circumstances is being called to be surrendered. Moment to moment, the surrender is all essential. As long as there is a tenacity within of holding on to what you think you know, peace cannot be found. Peace cannot be complicated. Peace cannot be complex. Peace cannot have differences, battles, assessments, opinions, and judgments. Peace can never be an upset. Peace is love itself. This journey of love. And that is the only journey that there is. The false self would love to believe that there's a goal within the world of accomplishment, that there is a worth to get, whether it's through the material or through the conquering within the world. One of the deepest lessons of love is to realize that there is absolutely nothing to get. So everything that was represented by getting, by its identity itself, it is already and always was nothing but illusion. The spinning of circles to try to accomplish, be right, defend, protect, know in any way is the spinning in time. And that spinning will be experienced as never ending because of the resistance of letting go. And yet, in one divine, perfect moment, everything can be let go. And the beloved awakens to the truth of love, to the oneness, and the beloved melts into the wholeness, the holiness of all that is. There's a conditioning in the world that says this is fearful. This is a loss of control. But in truth, there can't be anything to control because all is just love. And in the truth of love, in oneness, in harmony, in peace, what could there possibly be to control when everything flows in perfect harmony? This is a journey that truly has no distance, and in truth, there really is no journey. But while you believe in separation and a separate self and a separate identity, the journey becomes the divine purpose of love's healing. The only true purpose is the surrender into love, the learning of love in this perceived element of time. The transformation calls to truly surrender and let the Spirit of love show you the way in every moment. The arrogant belief of separation says, I know something. I'm in charge. I decide. And in every declaration of separation, in the ignorance of that belief that there is anything to be separate from, because everything is only one, in that belief, that habit of the small, little, separate self, trying to be big, trying to be the knower, every I'm in charge that the ego declares brings pain to the heart, brings pain and a sense of aloneness that then scrambles once again to conquer, to win, and the game continues. This is a moment, as is every moment, of truly ending the game, surrendering the game, and having that divine trust within that you will follow, following the divine, listening for the voice of love, listening in the stillness as you rest in peace, moment to moment, the willingness to learn to love. And in this moment, surrendering this day, surrendering all the past, but as you surrender this day, the realization, God, lead my life. Let it open in its perfection as I surrender all my knowing, all my deciding, all my correcting, whether the ego is playing the game of correction of others or correction of the self, it's the same thing. You are not called to be the corrector. You cannot be the corrector. That just becomes illusion. The correction comes from love itself and from the deep surrender within. Show me the way, and I will follow. Moment to moment as I surrender this day, allowing love to lead. And every day and every moment, beginning again. Not knowing anything that was known before, becoming empty, willing and ready to learn the way of love. In this moment, the deep surrender of the heart and the willingness to rest in God and let love God lead. A learning, deeply learning, to hear the vibration of love, to feel the vibration of love in the stillness, the call to meditation, so that you can recognize the stillness within. And so that you can also recognize the constant chatter of the mind's incessant insanity that is being called to be stepped away from, and focusing on the heart, focusing on breathing into love, reveling in the stillness, in the quiet, and the happiness, the gladness, the joy of I don't know. I don't know how to look on anything. I don't know what anything means. I don't know what anything is for. I'm here to learn. I'm here to learn the truth of love that is the entire universe of God. As you allow this prayer to enter into your heart, stirring the heart, dropping the mind, and even more so, as you drop the mind, surrender the mind, giving it back to God, not wanting it anymore to be filled with concepts, conclusions, and judgments. Oh, Father, I pray for tenderness. Oh, Father, I pray for the love. I pray for the awareness of my inner worth. I open up my heart to receive you, Father, to know the holy light, so I can see. Oh, Father, I pray for tenderness. Oh, Father, I pray for the love. I pray for the awareness of my inner worth. Oh, Father, I pray for tenderness. There is only tenderness in the divine. What are you really praying for? In this prayer, you're actually asking to recognize the tenderness, to let go of this incessant belief in battle between right and wrong and good and bad. And as you drop these defense systems, you can open to the tenderness, the comfort of truth, in the stillness, in the listening, in the happiness that you don't know anything, and that the love of truth, the divine vibration of love itself, will lead the way in every moment. I pray for the awareness of my inner worth. It is a prayer. It is a calling to want to open to the awareness of your inner worth. This is not something that you will find by accomplishments within the world. This will not be found in conclusions and assessments that you have come up with of how the world should be and what you think is right and wrong. But letting all of that go and opening and praying for the stillness within, so that you can open to the awareness of your inner worth. Love is always wanting to let you be aware of this inner worth, of this love that is within you. But it has nothing at all to do with an identity that you believe in. It has nothing to do with accomplishments in this world except the offering of love, purely, completely love. When you love without conditions, when you love without trying to get anything, you will find your inner worth, because that is the connecting point. The connecting point is in the offering of love. The more that you remember, I must love, the more your heart expands and you come in contact, you come into a communion with your own inner worth, because it is that love. It is love itself. It is the light of God, nothing else. No story, no fabrication, no conclusions, no goals, no proving. All of this has just been made up in the fear of separation. The beauty of letting go and accepting. I pray for the awareness of my inner worth and letting that be your prayer, not to prove your worth, not to say, see, I told you so. I knew I was worth more than everybody else. No, it's the holy union of love. And through that union of love, everything melts back into oneness. No one can remember the truth of love without remembering it with every beloved. Every beloved must be seen as the divine in order for the heart to open and the mind to be cleansed and return to God. The way of love, the way of holiness, the way of divine union, unity, perfection, all divinely equal in perfection. The temptation of seeing others as separate is the pain of the world. It's the cause of all suffering within the world, the belief of separation. In the truth of love, all pain and suffering disappears because it doesn't exist. The willingness to accept that love. There's a fever of love that every beloved that walks the journey of remembering will experience through transformation. It is a fever that burns up all of the made up insanity that's being carried as an identity. All of the made up insanity of separation that says, I am without, I need, I want, give me, give me, give me. And all of that falls away in the fever of love, burned up by the divine, and then recognize that it never was. It was totally fabricated. The nightmare of separation disappears. The fever of love, here I want to consecrate with all the divine beings of light and love. Forever I must love. The fever of love, we must consecrate and give worth to each other, forever loving each beloved. Let's all divine beings of love unite in this truth. With all divine beings in the heart and in our minds, showing us the way. As the Divine Mother opens the heart, going into the heart, we arrive in the truth of all love. Humility and forgiveness are the doors to the altar of love. In the fine study, we simply pay attention. We stay vigilant for the truth of love. And no hooking into the personal ideas of wants and needs and decisions and obsessions and concepts, all surrendered. No hooking into the personal identity as we extend our hands to one another, holding each beloved in the truth of love. My father and my mother, help me in this journey of love. Help me to see that I am a child of yours, of love and perfection. Show me the way. Turn, 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 and you will find with the Blessed Mother forever you will be as you let go and surrender and let love lead. Oh, my Queen Mother, I ask you for this blessing. Show me the way to have love in my heart that is pure and innocent and truthful. Forever, here in this moment. In the truth of love, I will never fall down again. In the truth of love, I will hold in the light of love itself. And in the light of the vision, you will show me the path to walk, showing me in every moment. I ask all the angels to help me in this journey of love, to recognize the mission and the purpose of returning to love, of the love of all divine beings, the love of all that has been creation itself. I say yes in the divine unity of that love. I feel joy. I feel joy. I feel joy in my heart. Oh, my Father, I thank you. I thank you for giving me your hand. You gave me your hand to bring me out of the darkness. My Father, here I give you my life. I give you my heart. I ask only to be led. I ask only to learn how to surrender more and more deeply in every moment. Surrendering, falling to my knees, accepting as you lead me all the way back into the oneness of love. I surrender to you to fulfill my purpose, my holy purpose of not knowing and joining in love itself. Divine Mother, Divine Father, you are the one who holds me in truth in this world of illusion. I must turn always to the truth. I must turn to the honesty. I must surrender. You support me. You show me the path as I am able then to walk in firmness, in conviction, with humility. I want to learn to love all beloveds. Help me, please, to open my heart and learn to love. This is a time for union. This is a time for concentration. It is a time for purification and the study of the truth and the heart. Oh, my Queen Mother, my Divine Mother, my Holy Mother, you hold me in the truth of love. And in this, I realize I can never believe in abandonment again because I am one with all creation in this journey for the union of the heart, returning to oneness. A febre do amor a que quero consagrar, como os anjos nos do céu para sempre devo amar. A febre do amor nos devemos consagrar e dar valor e cada para sempre nos amar. Vamos todos, meus irmãos, se unir neste corrente, com Jesus e a Virgem Mãe, no peito e nossa mente, subindo pro coração, se conosco alcançar, humildade e perdão são as portas do altar. Estudo fino, isso prestar atenção. Não esjanja no seu passo quando for estando mal. Oh, minha rainha mãe, eu peço vosso bênção para sempre aqui na terra, ter amor o coração. To bring yourself by choice to this deep, deep surrendered place, surrendering your life, surrendering your every moment into the heart of God and wanting the transformation that only love can bring. The willingness to be healed, the willingness to be transformed, inviting the divine alchemy of love's healing and realizing I cannot heal myself. I must invite the truth of love. I must call on the brightness and beauty and perfection of God to come and heal this heart. Not because anything is wrong with the heart, but because an insane idea has been held of separation. An insane idea that says, I know that everything is separate and that time exists and that the temporary is real and that there is death, when all of this has no meaning at all. The eternal light of your spirit, of the divine spirit of love, has never changed. The truth of oneness has never changed. And no matter how much you attach to the world of battle and the world of being right, it doesn't make it real. It just makes it miserable. And the misery is self-made and not recognized as such. The world has a device of separation that says, the problem is out there. The problem is with others. The problem is I need to get in control and get everybody else on board of what I think I know. And this is the insanity in the world. And the peace and the harmony and the transformation of love comes through the prayer of love. Show me the way. Please, I don't know. I'm resting in God right now, but you have to help me because I don't know. I don't know how to walk this journey of love. Show me the way. My mighty companions are always here. Show me the way. In every moment, this is the calling. It has nothing to do with the world that you've known of the past. It has nothing to do with the world that you've conceptualized in your mind and in your emotions. But the mysteries of love are waiting to be recognized and open to and remembered. And in that, aha, the heart rejoices, the heart dances, the heart is invigorated and remembers only the oneness. All pain, all belief in suffering is not coming from something outside that needs to be repaired. It is coming from the mind that has been ill and is being called to be surrendered. All of the belief of illness into the hands of God, letting the fever of love burn up everything that's been made up. One heart, one light of love, one existence. The sun in drag. Here comes the sun to heal us. The sun lives within you. The entire universe is within you. But you are the sun in drag. You've put on a costume of a knower. You've put on a costume of a defender. You've put on a costume of believing that you are separate. So you are now the sun in drag. You are God hiding from yourself. Is this recognized within the world? No, the world is too busy knowing, concluding, assessing, judging, having its opinions of what everything means. And yet you are God hiding from yourself. Remove all of the mine. That is the veil. Every time there is a statement of mine, the heart shrinks. Every time there is a thought of ownership, how things should be to satisfy the ego self, the heart recedes and disappears from your awareness. It isn't really gone, but you've put it behind a defense system, and then it isn't recognized anymore. So the calling is always to remove, to let go of the little me that has ownership of anything, that believes that ownership is what this world is about, and what you're here for is to learn to own as much as possible, to prove worth through ownership. And yet all it brings in that upside downness is misery, the misery and fear of losing, the misery and fear of not winning. But there's nothing to win. Why ever worry about anything? This is a concept the ego cannot enter. To truly surrender the belief in worry, that worry has value, that worry is legitimate, that worry means that there is progress, that you are actually doing something with worry, is a complete farce. All it does, all that worry does, is close doors of love. Because worry says, I know, and I have to be protected, and I have to win something and protect something. But that I, in that moment, completely is identified with being a temporary body. All worry comes from the protection of the body, the protection of the identity. Heaven forbid, when someone believes they are not being well treated, heaven forbid, because that belief is the hell that is made by the mind. And it is insatiable in its concepts. It has a never-ending supply of being unfairly treated. It has a never-ending supply of the belief that you know what you think you know, and that you're right about the past. None of this is true. How can you accept that none of this is true? It's in faith. It's in the realization that every master that has brought a true teaching to humanity, every master offers the same teaching. That you cannot die, that you are the spirit of love, you are the innocence of all creation. This walking in this way has no meaning other than to learn to love, to learn to offer love, to return to this divine union with all creation. And for this is a surrender. Guide me back home. Guide me to return to the truth so that I can recognize the beauty. Listen to what your beloved teacher knows for certain. The appearance of this world is a magician's trick, though its affairs are nothing into nothing. Nothing into nothing is what is going on with all thoughts about the protection and preservation of the little self. And yet, you are a divine elephant with amnesia, not realizing you have amnesia. But you are a divine elephant with amnesia trying to live in an ant hole. That's how ridiculous it is to try to make sense out of the mind that thinks it knows, that only has the past to glean from. Nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. There is only love. But you can't connect with that love without dropping into the stillness within and opening to the communion with the divine that is waiting within to be communed with. Everyone is searching out there, looking for the answers out there, looking for some kind of reciprocity in this world. You owe me. You owe me big time, world. You owe me. No, this is all made up. This is all fabricated. How can the divine expression and perfection of God need to get something? What could it be that you possibly could be needing to get from the outside when everything is waiting within? But this is where the fear is. The fear. Sweetheart, oh, sweetheart, sweetheart. You are God in drag. You are God in drag. You've put on a costume so that you don't recognize yourself. You've put on a story that's part of this costume. You've built a story and you pull the story out, not only as your evidence and your weapons, but as the legitimate reason to be fearful. It's time to let go of the fear. It's time to let go and realize that fear is nothing except a rebellion against love. It doesn't matter how the fear shows up. Fear loves to show up as anger. Fear loves to show up as upset, as worry, as irritation, as the belief that something is being taken from you in some way. This is all impossible. There's nothing to lose in love because love can't be lost. Love can't leave its source, and that's who you are. You are God in drag. You've worn hundreds, maybe thousands of different costumes. Costumes. This identity, that identity, this one poor, this one rich, this one big, this one small, this one stupid, this one brilliant, this one, they're all the same. They're costumes. They're costumes to hide the divine spirit of love that is eternal. Don't be afraid of the spirit that you are, the eternal light of God that you are. It's time to let go of the fear. It's time to open and trust and surrender. God, lead me so that I can rest in love and let you lead the way. Let me learn. I rest in God today. I rest in God today by my choice. And I let God work in me. I let God work in me because that is the truth within. To be that instrument of love, to learn the way of love. God, letting God work through me and in me while I rest in God in quiet and in perfect certainty of harmony. This is the way back to love. To rest in God and to put your faith that everything will unfold in perfect harmony as the past is let go. Now here's the secret. The future cannot open in perfect harmony while the past is being used as the weapon of identity. What is guaranteed in the spinning of the sameness of untruth is that when you believe in your identity and the past, the future will unfold exactly like the past, because that is what you are holding on to and you're bringing to the future is the identity of the past. Everyone is here believing, all of humanity is here believing within this world, in the unconscious state, believing that you're determined to make the future better than the past because nobody has been satisfied with the past. How could anyone be satisfied with the past? When the ego's identity is completely everything that you've known in the past. The ego says pain and suffering is real. The ego says, I have to fight because there isn't enough. The belief in scarcity is a principle of the ego that it will not let go of. And as long as you believe in that old identity of the past, you bring with you your belief in scarcity. And then you see futurized that same scarcity. The belief that there is not enough. And when anyone believes that there is not enough, what happens? Always is fear, hatred, determination to get your own needs, personal needs met, because you are the only one who is going to protect, defend, and battle for yourself. This is not the way of love. The way of love is a joyous way of remembering and opening to the awareness that there is no scarcity. That's a place, that's a leap of faith, because your evidence seems so strong. Your evidence seems so accurate. You can feel it, you can taste it, you can hear it, you can see it. And it is the most frightening place that you can ever imagine, is to believe in scarcity, because in the belief of scarcity, you have to believe in death, because scarcity equals death. Somebody is going to be without, and everybody is scrambling not to be the one without. And yet, at the same time as the scrambling is going on, somebody has to be sacrificed in order for there to be enough. Every war that has ever been on this earth plane in the name of war, in the name of illusion, has been from the belief of scarcity. The inner war of illusion fabricates the wars in the world. The wanting of power to not be the one in scarcity is what is making all wars within the world. The war is within. The war is always going on in the belief of separation. And the war is not between love and hate. The war is between two illusions fighting with each other. Love does not battle. Love sees no purpose in battle. Love recognizes battle doesn't really exist except in the illusion of insanity. There will not be a healing within the world except from within. That is the power that each beloved carries, because each beloved is the power of God. You are God in drag. Your costume doesn't make any difference. It has no value. You can change it 1,000 times. You can even work at truly improving your costume, but it doesn't do anything. God, what would you have me think today? What would you have me look upon today? How would you have me see today? What would you have me wear as clothing today that will serve humanity's remembering? Let me be the instrument in every element of my life. And let me recognize there is nothing to get. Everything is already within. The journey is to remember the wholeness and the beauty of that truth of God within you. The wholeness is within you. In that quiet, restful place of surrendering the identity of being a body, because the identity of being a body is guaranteed that you have to then be holding the belief in death. And fear will be there, because the ego's manifestation is the fear of death. Fighting against death, fighting against not proving worth. It's an insane battle, because there really isn't any battle. And every beloved in awakening, every single beloved that awakens has one awareness. Nothing actually happened. Nothing happened. I made it all up. This insane mind that believed in separation, that incarnated into a body, made up an identity that had no truth. There is no death. And this body can only have one true purpose, because the rest of it has no value at all. Its only purpose is to express love. Temporarily within this body, to learn to express love, to extend love, which means in extending love that you are willing to accept that you have love within you. And that as you extend that love, you recognize it more fully, because you realize that in the extension of love, you don't lose love. Love actually flows more deeply, because you are more connected with the flow and the truth and the surrender into God. The divine alchemy of love's healing is beyond any comprehension that can be thought of in the separate mind of limitation. The mind of the ego is being called to be returned to God. Let go of that mind. Give it to God. Be happy when your mind doesn't function like it used to. Be happy. Thank God that this mind is being disassembled. God isn't going to leave me without. One of the first conscious healings that I received was a healing of a particular element of the past. This element of the past was a movie that ran in front of my unconscious awareness all of the time. It was a movie that said pain, suffering, heartache, torture, helplessness, hatred, fear, constantly rolling, constantly rolling. These divine beings came and began dismantling this movie screen, because I had asked for healing. I had wanted so deeply to remember and to heal. And I asked the question of these divine beings during this healing. And I said, will I be able to see out of my right eye, which is blind? And these divine beings laughed, this soft, gentle laughter, and said, no, my love, you won't need your eyes to see. And in that moment, there was a recognition, an awareness that true vision is from the heart. I was not there yet, but I knew where I had to go. I had to come back to the heart, open the heart for true sight, to be able to see the truth of God in everything and in everyone, to surrender the eyes, to surrender the ears, to surrender speech, to surrender all the senses into the hands of God, to be used only for love, to really have that prayer in your heart. I don't want to see anything without seeing the truth of every beloved. I don't want to see. I'd rather be completely blind than to keep seeing through hatred, through obsession, through selfishness, through self-importance, through all the elements that the ego makes, the arrogance, the hatefulness, the greed, the jealousy, the constant planning and scheming. I don't want these eyes to be used for this anymore. These eyes have been used for that, for every single journey that's been walked through in this journey of remembering. Every single lifetime, these eyes were used for hatred, for proving self-worth and wanting everyone else condemned. Not consciously, sometimes consciously, but mostly not even consciously. Just running on so much fear that the eyes become a weapon of what you think you see, and you believe it, not recognizing that the eyes are being used as a weapon. That what you hear, that you're constantly using it to discern. The ego wants to discern and judge and decide what it means, not realizing this is all used as a weapon. And when you surrender your senses into the hands of God, that surrender says, I don't want to use these senses anymore for what they've been used in the past. I want these senses, I want everything to be used for love, for the learning of love. The world does not recognize love. The world recognizes fear and uses the word love to sabotage and to camouflage. It has nothing to do with the reality of love. Love has absolutely no conditions. Imagine that you would offer love, and everyone has, for a moment or two, offered love without conditions. That means there's absolutely nothing to get. Everything is already recognized and accepted that it is already within you. You don't need anyone to recognize your good deeds. You don't need anyone to recognize how bright you are or how important you are. You don't need anyone to acknowledge your worth. As soon as you step into the world and you want to have your worth recognized by something or someone else, you're filled with pain. You are filled with anxiety. You're filled with hopelessness and a sense of aloneness, because when you try to seek something outside, in that motion, you automatically are looking for illusion and you have forgotten God. You cannot serve the truth of oneness and serve trying to get in this world at the same time. The ego will try to prove to you that to believe and to put your faith that everything is already within you is a sacrifice. That you will be sacrificing the world that you made and you will be without. But I promise you, there is no sacrifice in love. And the returning home to the heart, to meeting the divine within, to coming home into that stillness, it has nothing to do with sacrifice. It has everything to do with the explosion of love that you truly are. To really recognize, I am that divine star that is reflected in the universe. Not the little I of the self, but the I am. The I am that is God. And in this I am, there is no arrogance of proving worth and wanting recognition. And hey, don't you know who I am? And how are you treating me? And what are you going to give me today that you're not giving me? This is just a place of pain and suffering. And it's a self-attack. It's a self-attack. And no love can come from this. All of this is being called to be surrendered. There's a beautiful teaching that says, seek not to change the world. Seek not to change the world, but choose to change your mind about the world. Surrender what you think you know about the world, and not looking out there that problem is something outside. It isn't outside. The problem is only one problem. There is only one problem in the entire universe. And it is not a problem because it actually doesn't actually exist. But to recognize that the only problem is that you believe you're separate from God. That is the source of all the belief of problems. Every single time the mind says, I have a problem, there is a problem. The healing of that perception is the recognition in that moment, I have to be believing I'm separate from God. And that's not possible. I cannot be separate from God. I am the creation of God. It cannot be separate. Again, it's not the little I. It's the realization that everything is this divine creation. Love, creation cannot leave its source. It's not possible to leave the source of love. Impossible. There's only one, and it's all completely intact. There's no separation. So there is no problem. And in that trust, in that faith, in that leap, there is no problem. Right then and right there, you can come to a place of complete peace instantaneously. It's through trust, it's through faith, a faith that you have never experienced until you step into it and let it grow and let it expand and let it show you the way, because it is a living, breathing vibration of love. Faith is alive. Surrender is alive. It's not a concept. It's a force field that you join with when you say, yes, show me the way. I don't want anything else. I said to a beloved the other day, to accept that you are the light of God and that there is nothing occurring other than love, and everything else is being just fabricated in the mind, coming from the mind. It's not coming from outside, it's coming from the mind. If you can 100% surrender and say, I accept that it's all coming from my own mind. I accept it. Lock, stock, and barrel, I accept it. I don't know it. I don't understand it. I can't figure it out. But I accept it because every master has promised to me that there is nothing happening out there that causes anything. That all the cause of pain is coming from the belief that I am separate from God. Straight, 100%. Nothing is happening on the outside. At that moment of that acceptance, in the heart, deeply accepting. And if you can't begin with 100%, then you begin with as much as you possibly can, and you keep going and saying, yes, even more. Today, I will accept it even more deeply, that there is nothing outside. That every belief in pain and suffering is coming from within the mind that I have made up, that I'm separate from God. It's not true. But when it's true for you, it becomes what you think you know. And that acceptance of nothing is out there. The problem is in what I believe I know, what I believe I see, what I believe is the past. And when I believe that, I suffer. But if I accept that it is not coming from outside, it is just here, then the healing truly begins. Because the focus then becomes, what am I believing in? What am I believing in that is causing my disturbance? What am I believing in that is my suffering and pain? It's not out there. It's in the mind that made up the belief of separation. And that's where the healing is. Let me recognize that I can see this differently with the heart and truth of God. Every single little element that seems to be disturbance can be healed instantaneously in the rejection of its value and its authenticity, because it's totally fabricated. Every single time that anyone is upset by something, it can always be recognized, always, as familiar. It is never new. It is always familiar. It is always coming from the past. And the remedy, the healing, is to surrender the past. Everything that you thought you knew about it, everyone that you thought you knew who they were, every situation that you were ever in, every moment that you believed that something was happening to you in the past, surrendering it into the hands of God and wanting to be freed from this delusional identity. And accepting, I don't know who I am. I don't know, but God will show me as I say yes to love. I say yes, yes, learning to be in the quiet, learning to be in that divine stillness, to hear the voice of God, because the voice of love is heard in the stillness within. That's why the call is so often in meditation, because that's where that stillness is, when you go into the closet with God and rest there, allowing God to show you the truth of who you are, allowing the inner vision to open, allowing the voice of love to be heard, whispering to you constantly, calling you and directing you in your everyday life, in peace and in harmony. A journey of love? Absolutely. When you want only love, this is the most transformative element. Not that every element isn't transformative, because everything of love is transformative. But when you want only love, you will experience and see nothing else. That's how powerful your choice is. You can stay in the game of, I'm upset because I think something's happening out there. But when you have the power of love and it's within you, it's within you now. It's not something that you're going to develop. It's just getting rid, it's just dumping all of the made up identity that you've carried as a means of defense. But when you want only love, the power of what you want transforms. Because when you want only love, you call on that power of love that is the entire universe, that you are that entire universe, and you open to that power of love, and it transforms everything, and you won't see anything else but love ever again. Because that's how much power your choice has. But on the other hand, if you give that power to what you think you know about the world, your own ideas, your own past, your own concepts, you will suffer by your own choosing. Because you believe in suffering. You believe in what you think you know. And that's how powerful your choice is. Your choice carries the power. Love cannot rescue you. God, Spirit of love, can't rescue you from what you've made. You're not a puppet. You're not a victim waiting to be rescued. There's an awareness that has to come that says, I'm making a choice. It's the only choice I really have, is to choose between love and hate. When I choose love, I recognize I don't know, because there's nothing to know. When I choose hatred, I choose what I know. I choose the past. When you choose love, everything opens, because there's nothing known. You're not bringing anything with it, because you come empty, pure, innocent, complete, and it's all love. That's the journey of love, is to recognize I make this choice moment to moment. Am I choosing love, peace, and harmony? Or am I choosing the past and all of its imaginings of pain and suffering? Does it always look like pain and suffering? No. The ego has actually a great relationship with pleasure. Wanting to get a high, wanting to get pleasure, pleasure has nothing to do with peace or joy. Joy is who you are, what you are. Pleasure is what you think you get from something that you've been without, that you're getting. A payoff of some kind. But pleasure is always used to try to get away from pain. Always. That's why addiction in the world is so prevalent. Because the belief of pain, the belief that pain is real and that suffering is real and that you have to get away from it, and your only way to get away from it is to distract yourself with shiny objects, with getting something, proving something, others giving what they should be giving you because you deserve it and they have to make up for the past. And all of this insanity is just trying to get this pleasure high, but it won't bring you to joy. And as everyone is truly aware, maybe not consciously, that pleasure always dies. That pleasure is not an eternal state. It's a high. It's like imagine that you win the lottery. Nobody could really imagine anything more pleasurable than winning the lottery. Whoa. Number one, within 5 minutes after winning, the pleasure source Maybe a week, maybe two, maybe even a year. But it starts fading because the loneliness and the sense of guilt and shame and self-hatred is still there. Hasn't been touched because the belief in the hatred of the past is still running. Pleasure doesn't ever heal. It can't. It's a trying to get. And there's no truth there. Love itself is honesty. Love itself is honesty, and honesty is consistency. The ego has no concept or relationship with honesty. It is built on lies. It doesn't have an honest element within it. It has no relationship to honesty. But honesty, when you step into honesty and truly want to see what is running and what are the lies that are running, then love can illuminate that, because you want to illuminate what's running, and you want to surrender it into the hands of God. Show me what's in the way. I've said this prayer many, many times. And it was the prayer that I came to that was the leap of faith, that was the deepest leap of faith, which was, take everything that I have made up and let it disintegrate back into nothingness. And let only the love remain, the truth of love. I don't want anything. I don't want to see anything. I don't want to have anything. I don't want to keep anything that is not the truth of love. Heal me of everything that I've made up, and let only the truth remain. And let that be at the center of your heart. And let it lead you in the everyday life of learning how to be in a world of impermanence, and yet not of it. Learning the way of love. Learning to meet this divine spirit within you. Learning to meet this divine light that you truly are. And opening to this light of love. And offering that light of love in harmony to everyone. Wanting to only bless. Wanting only to bring the comfort of truth to every beloved, which cannot come from your own knowing, from your own story, from your own identity, from your own information. It doesn't come from there. It comes from God. Show me the way, and let me learn to be the instrument of your love, so that I can recognize the love that I am one with you. And then the you and the me disappears. And there's only the divine. And the God within you is no longer in drag, but set free from its games of illusion. One heart, one breath in devotion to love.